Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 320 of Just the Zoo of Us. This week, I am joined by a comedian, writer, and nature enthusiast for a review of some of the furry, feathered, and scaly neighbors making themselves at home right in our very own cities. We discuss domestication, dogs with human feet, inflatable snoods, ostriches for self-defense, kaiju battles at the park, life in a shipwreck, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents Vinny Thomas's top 3 urban wildlife species. Hey there, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. I'm so excited this week because we have a returning champion. It's been a while, so maybe newer listeners haven't heard your voice yet, but I'm so excited to have you back. This is Vinny Thomas. Say hi, Vinny.
Hi, everyone. Yes, it has been a really long time. I wonder if I'm even the same person as when we first did the podcast.
Do you feel different?
I think I feel different. I think I feel better.
More come into your power?
I've come into my power. I think I've gone into the cocoon and I've emerged a different kind of gross little thing. Still gross.
And yet, like a caterpillar soup, have you retained your memories of your former life?
Oh, big time. And I'll tell you, I had completely forgotten about that fact. And that is... it's nuts.
So you've soupified. This is your post-soup era.
Yeah. I'm post-soup. Right now, I'm pretty solid, but I'll probably soup again, such as life. Life is a constant flow of souping and solidifying.
Nobody's journey is linear. Sometimes soup comes for us all.
Yeah. Write that down, dear listener.
Vinny, you are a comedian and a writer. You're one of the funniest people on the planet. I have been overjoyed to see you pop up on places like Dropout, which I'm a big fan of. But I had been following you for a few years at that point. So then when you showed up on there, I was like, hello!
I don't even think I was aware of, Dropout has a huge fan base. All those, kind of internet platforms, the Dropouts, the Smoshes, and Mythicals, I don't think I was aware of it. And I see it now. I recognize your game, Dropout. And it was a lot of fun.
I wasn't familiar. I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with your game. One thing, you've had so much incredible success and growth in the couple of years since we've last talked to you. But you mentioned that you do, in some ways, you kind of feel like the same person. I feel like the through line has been your love for animals and nature that I feel like was one of the things that really caught my attention at first.
Yeah.
Because you're pulling some deep cuts. In your posts, there's some obscure ones in there. You'll be posting about hornbills and kinkajous and stuff. And I'm like, that's ball knowledge, I feel like. This is some elite ball knowledge.
Hornbills is elite ball knowledge. Let me tell you something about hornbills. Hornbills alone are so weird and different from each other. You could spend the rest of your life learning about different kinds of hornbills and be totally satisfied. No, I definitely think animals have been the through line. And someday I'm going to make these two interests kind of coalesce and meet in a way that feels organic and cool and fun. But for now, I'm perfectly happy doing comedy and then also doing podcasts with legends like Ellen Weatherford.
Okay.
There it is.
Now, I did see that you did something with PBS recently.
Yes.
That feels like the dream convergence. I feel like that's as a kid who grew up on Zaboomafoo and the Crap Brothers and stuff like that, I'm like, there we go. Now we're cooking.
I love Zaboomafoo. Sometimes you see that puppet and his eyes are just bulging out of his head looking straight forward. And I'm like, I miss old Hollywood because he was rolling. He's having a great time.
Until I was an adult, thought that garbanzo beans were made up for the show.
Oh, wow.
I had never heard them called that. I only heard them as chickpeas. And I didn't know garbanzo beans just meant chickpeas. So I thought this was some exotic, made up fairy tale magical bean that they made up to feed Zaboomafoo. And then it wasn't until I was with my husband who was cooking some and he called them garbanzo beans. And I was like, the thing from Zaboomafoo?
You mean the rings from Sonic? What are you talking about, boy? Be serious.
What are you eating, Mario 1-Up mushrooms or something like that? What are you talking about?
No, they are very real and very good for you. Write that down, dear listener. I also used to have a huge crush on the Crap Brothers. Thank God you brought the Crap Brothers up. When I was younger, Love those guys.
Before thirst traps were a thing, I feel like that was like the golden era of animal educational content, really pioneered
Yeah.
the thirst trap genre.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it was regular guys. But you know what? When they're wearing khakis, they are supermodels, period.
I do feel like a love for nature and that sort of like gentle, compassionate disposition, that can bump you up to a 10 real quick.
I think so. I'd say so. Yeah.
I think it gets you there. Now, what was the collaboration with PBS like? That seemed like a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I was a little weird about it at first because the premise of it is it's like comedians versus animals, right? And they're supposed to show you, they're showing different comedians a supposedly obscure animal, right? And the gag of it is like the comedian's not supposed to know what it is, and then the comedian's supposed to make up funny facts.
Oh, so you were playing on like expert mode. They were playing on expert mode with you. They were like, here's a beetle from a cave in Thailand. You might not know this one.
They did show me the Christmas worm, the Christmas tree worm, which I'd forgotten the name of the Christmas tree worm, and I knew it was an aquatic worm, but I couldn't figure out which. That was the only one that stumped me. At first, when they asked me to do it, I had to ask them, I was like, is it okay if I know the animal? Because I can't physically bring myself to pretend I don't know what it is. Like, I don't think, if I did that, I would like gag and my face would swell up, or like, I don't know what would happen. It just wouldn't work.
You'd be like, I've probably already posted about this animal in the past. Like,
oh yeah,
there's probably already proof I know what it is.
So I pretended I knew the animal on a personal basis, and I like gave them a name, and I gave them fun facts about the individual animal pictured, which was a lot of fun. Very weird.
Oh, so cool. Now, were you an animal kid? Were you like an early adopter into loving animals, or was this a later in life thing?
Oh, it was immediate. Like, it was like fresh out of the womb. It was all I was interested in. And I think to my detriment as an adult, I think there are a lot of pop culture references that sometimes I still don't understand, because a lot of people have a bedrock of media that they grew up on. I was watching like Walking with Dinosaurs, and subsequently Walking with Prehistoric Beasts, and then Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Like, and that was all I watched. That was all I consumed. Every year for Christmas, I would get a new animal encyclopedia, like one of those big Smithsonian or DK like books, and I just like spend the rest of the year rifling through that. And so now when people like bring up movies, I think one of the funniest examples is Annie Hall. Like, someone mentioned Annie Hall to me, which is like this formative, famous rom-com. And I was like, I don't know what Annie Hall is. I don't know. You know what Planet Dinosaur is? What's that?
You're like, let's talk about the green CGI guy from The Most Extreme. Now we're working with like, this is my pop culture frame of reference.
The Most Extreme. Let's talk about Monsters Inside Me. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about parasites.
Are we ready? Are we ready to have the conversation about parasites from the Monsters Inside Me?
I think so. That was, oh my gosh. I was scarred by that. There was one episode where one guy had a tapeworm, and he was like, my wife had to come in and pull it out, and it was like foot after foot. And they were like doing an impression of it. And I was like, this is revolting. You guys can't see me, but it looks like I'm pulling rope.
Like a clown with the handkerchief. Like,
yes, exactly. And it was like, and it just wouldn't stop. Like, I did not know.
Now, did you have a lot of opportunity to like go out and see wildlife, like out in nature, or was it kind of like seeing them around you? Like, what was your sort of interface with the natural world like?
I grew up in Colorado, so I had a fair amount of opportunity to like go out and hike, and just where I lived, I would see deer all the time. Certainly like raccoons, skunks, your foxes, coyotes, we'd see a lot. But we also grew up kind of in ranch land, so you'd also see a lot of cattle and horses, and also really close to the Rocky Mountain Arsenal National Wildlife Refuge, which used to store nuclear weapons, but now houses a herd of bison.
Wow.
So as soon as I could drive, I would drive after school every day there, and I would just like park my car and eat a sandwich and like look at the bison. So I definitely have like a big bedrock of doing this. And yeah, it was like truly like my only interest until I was about 17 years old. And I was like, wait a minute, I kind of want to get into this comedy thing.
I feel like that's the perfect way to get people interested in something, right? Because comedy is inherently engaging, and it inherently like makes people feel good and feel happy and like enjoy what they're listening to. So I feel like you have to infuse some comedy and some like lightheartedness to like get people to like enjoy learning about something.
Of course. And I do feel like, I mean, look, I have my beef sometimes with science education. I think everyone does.
Yeah.
I think there's something so funny about every time you go to a zoo or an aquarium, they do the same thing. Like every single time, like an animal comes out and they're like, this is Roy. He's a Cory buster. that big display he has is really to show off for the ladies. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like,
there's a script.
There's a script, but what is Roy thinking? Like, what does he do with his life? What does he wear? I think a Cory Bustard would love jeans. Do you know what I mean? Like a Cory Bustard would shop for jeans just based off of their vibe and the way they look. So talk about that, you know?
Yeah.
Get people in.
Humanize. That's one thing is that like I think I diverge with some other science communicators in that I'm way more comfortable anthropomorphizing animals than I think a lot of people are. And I'm like, I get it. They're probably not actually thinking and experiencing these feelings, but it's really funny to me. Yeah. So I am going to say it anyway because I enjoy it.
And I mean, look, if you want people to care about animals, sometimes you do need to anthropomorphize. I think animals are so different than us. If you don't, you might as well be talking about a rock. It's just, you got to.
And I can't learn about things like cleaner wrasses, like recognizing themselves in a mirror and not like draw some like I can't not relate to that in some way, right? Like when a cleaner wrasse is like trying to like pick something, it thinks it's got a parasite because it sees it in its reflection and it keeps trying to get it and coming back to look back in the mirror and check to see if it's gone. I can't not relate to that. Like,
and I did not know about that. I love that. That's awesome. I had no idea.
I can't not like see that and be like, yeah, dude. Like I've also got stuff stuck in my teeth.
Yeah.
Like we've all been there. So I do really enjoy the way that you bring nature into the comedy too, right? Because a lot of times I feel like people follow you for the comedy and then you kind of Trojan horse some animal facts in there, which is really great for me.
Yeah, really sprinkling in some medicine with the
with
the barbecue ribs. Oh, sugar. Sugar is the euphemism. I forgot. Like,
honestly, like for anyone who's ever tried to give a dog medicine, I feel like barbecue ribs would go down pretty easy instead of sugar. Well, today we wanted to talk about some of your favorite urban wildlife. So for people who maybe have never considered wildlife in an urban context, this would be animals living where you live, like in a city environment, or at least like in close proximity to people. So Vinny, what would be your number 3 pick for your favorite urban wildlife?
Okay, for my number 3 pick, I wanted to go for something universal, something recognizable, something everyone knows. And so I'm going to go with the raccoon.
Here she is.
Here she is. She's all over the news lately. Miss Raccoon got a lot of press.
Having a big moment.
She's having a big moment for reasons that might be a little dubious.
She's the Chapel Roan of 2025.
She really is, yeah. There was like this big, not big, it was actually kind of a small sample size once you look at it. But there was this study of raccoons that suggested that some of them were getting shorter snouts and becoming domesticated, kind of in the same way cats became domesticated by just hanging around human settlements, which is very interesting to think about. And I think might happen in a few thousand years, but I don't know that I don't know that that's happening now.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's very interesting about raccoons is that they mostly lived on the east coast of the US. Like they didn't really live past the Rockies until humans, or at least, white people started colonizing and building urban settlements across the US. And then they followed us because we were building forests, which is something I didn't really think about a lot. But every time we go somewhere, we plant a ton of trees and we're kind of building the perfect environment for raccoons to just kind of follow us along.
Oh, like making a land bridge almost, like a forest for raccoons.
Like
wow.
The only reason they were so rare past the Rockies is because they didn't really know how to get through, right? And then we basically slowly showed them the way to get past the Rockies, and now they're all over the place, which is very funny to think about.
I feel like every time we talk about the ways that species interact with like human presence or human migration or like movements of humans, it's always bad. It's always like, oh, humans moved into this area and then this species like either was like largely exterminated from the area or something. But raccoons are just rubbing their little hands together. They're like, ooh, I can't wait for this. My time has come.
It's always fun for me to think about animals that could be domesticated, right? Like I could definitely see that life for raccoons. Like I could see it happening.
They're so close already. I feel like they're so close.
We're right there, truly. We're so close to raccoons with like floppy ears and long, silky Afghan hound coats. We're right there.
Now, here's a thought. We start breeding the raccoons and getting different breeds. So maybe some of them have the floppy ears. Maybe you start getting a calico raccoon. Maybe you breed them for different jobs. Maybe you have like a police raccoon.
Yeah, you have kind of a raccoon terrier, a drug-sniffing raccoon, a big guard raccoon.
How much would you love going to the airport if they had drug-sniffing raccoons?
I would love going to the airport with drug-sniffing raccoons. One time I went to the airport with a drug-sniffing dog. Sorry, tangent. And the dog sniffed me and the dog gave me the okay. And they were like, okay, you can just skip security. I was like, oh, if a dog can just sniff you and you skip security, why don't you just have 10 dogs there doing all of this? Like, what is this rigmarole we're doing? What is this performance?
And also, I like that the dog just gives you like a vibe check. The dog is just like, seems cool.
Yeah. The dog like winked at me and nodded its head up and I just like went through. Oh, the Denver Zoo, by the way, has 2 leucistic raccoons, 2 white raccoons. I think their names are Cashew and I don't know what the other one is. Cashew and something else. And they're very cute. And so sometimes you go to the zoo and you just see these 2 white raccoons kind of playing around. It's a good window into what might be possible.
It is so funny to me when zoos in America have raccoons as an exhibit. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, like, why did you put like, they were already here. It seems like you built a pen around it. Like,
I mean, I'm sure you've seen the clip of I think it was a zoo in Ireland that had raccoons in it. And there was like a little electric wire and this big glass panel to keep it in. And I'm like, they're housing this thing like it's Jurassic Park, man. Like, they really got this thing locked down. You know that thing is up to no good.
And like, I think if you just kind of put aluminum foil around it, I think they wouldn't get out. Like, I think you'd be good.
Just something that makes a scary noise.
Yeah, or I think if you maybe just like had an unsecured garbage bin in the pen, it would simply never leave because it would have no reason to. It'd be like, I'm actually good here.
I really do love them. I love their confidence. You know, I love that they'll saunter in front of you at twilight with like their 3 kids.
And I love when they do. I feel chosen when they do. I'm like, you trusted me.
But have you ever been like bluff charged by a raccoon? It is
they juke you a little bit.
Yeah. They like jump around and like... It's almost, and they almost flatten their front hands out like they're spinning records on a DJ, like
like they're DJing, like
and they yap at you, and it is like scary. They get you every time.
I have not been bum rushed by a raccoon, but have you ever had any sort of like conflict with a raccoon? Because I know a lot of people have conflict with raccoons.
Because they're always a little bit in the way, a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
They're taking up space.
I've never had conflict with them, but I think they've had conflict with me. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
I'll never forget one time I was walking home from a day of college. And as I was walking back, it literally was this like big female and her 3 babies behind her. And I didn't really see her. And I took one step closer and soon enough, it's like, wicka, 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 like hissing at me. And that's always like, okay, girl, you got it. Like, I'm going to take a step back and I think we'll be okay.
I don't know have you heard about this? The thing about them washing their paws? Like,
yes.
And it not really being about hygiene, like washing their food.
Yeah.
Because this was something that Christian told me about years ago, and it's never left my brain. Because it's such like an integral part of like the way that people understand raccoons. And I almost feel like because it is a way for people who otherwise might feel hostile towards raccoons, right? Because sometimes they get in your garbage, they knock your stuff over. I get it that like maybe you might have some negative feelings towards raccoons. But if the idea that they just like me for real, like they go and wash their food in the water to clean it off. If that idea endears them to you and makes you feel more positively towards like wildlife and nature, I don't want to like tear that away from people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the person to be like, actually, like, I don't want to be that person. But it is really interesting to me that like the reason that they're doing that is because it like the water makes their paws more sensitive, like the nerve endings in their paws makes it more sensitive. So it's kind of like putting your contacts in for their like paws. It could be like your phone or something like there's like a lot of videos of raccoons getting their paws on a phone and like they know that's not food. They know they're not going to eat it, but they're curious about it anyway. So there they go to the water. Dunk, 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 dunk. Like, have you seen them do this?
I have. I didn't realize it was because it like clears up the feeling on their hands, which actually makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Because sometimes they're not looking at the object. They're literally looking around and feeling it. And that's probably a good like evolutionary development too, because it means they can investigate the object, but still look around for predators while they're like getting a good look at it with their hands.
Right.
Which is pretty interesting to think about.
And that's funny. I hadn't thought of like that part of it. I was just thinking, well, their eyes don't work very well. Like, they're just not very good at seeing, or maybe they don't have good close-up vision. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they'd also want to like stay alert.
Yeah. I mean, they also have the added benefit of being very cute for an urban species. I think any anti-raccoon sentiment is cloaked in like, oh, they're a cute little scamp, you know, versus like there are other urban animals like coyotes, which are genuinely a little bit dangerous and you need to like keep your distance.
I wonder if this is a generational thing, because I feel like my generation and younger tend to be much more pro urban wildlife. Like they tend to be much more like accepting and like almost like romanticizing raccoons and opossums and skunks and stuff. Whereas I feel like in maybe previous generations, there was a little bit more of like a, you kids get off my lawn sentiment towards like urban wildlife. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like younger people have started really romanticizing urban wildlife. And I feel like the raccoon is just so emblematic of that because they're just so darn cute.
Yeah, they really are. And they're a pretty unique animal when you think about it too. Like, obviously we see them every day, especially in America.
I know, I feel like we get desensitized to them.
We do. But I did, like, they were introduced to Europe, which is also funny to think about. Like, there are now emerging, and I think Japan, too, there are some, like, emerging raccoon cloisters all over the place. But they are, this weird little animal that's, it's not a cat, it's not a dog. Is it a mustelid? No.
It's a procyanid, which I think is closest to mustelids.
Gotcha.
I don't have a chart in front of me.
You didn't bring a chart?
Like you said, there's something, it's hard to figure out what their closest analog is.
Yeah.
Especially when they have those weird little fingers. You're like, I don't feel like an animal of your shape and size should have fingers like that.
Well, an animal of your snout, right? Like it's whatever. An animal of your snout should not have primate hands. I think it's very weird. It's like a dog walking around with feet. It's so strange.
No thanks.
Not for me. Yucky, yucky, yucky. But I do think very fascinating. It's and very successful. Like they're killing it, man. A raccoon could live anywhere.
Anywhere. You put them anywhere. There's raccoons in the desert. They don't care. They're like, I'll live there. It's fine. It works for me.
Raccoons eating cigarettes right now in Las Vegas. They don't care. They don't care.
To go back to the domestication study thing, because it was really interesting to me. And one of the things that I actually watched a video earlier this morning about how like double checking, or at least being like, I don't know about this study so much, because like you mentioned, it was a small sample size, but also like it was looking at raccoons in a lot of different areas. And like maybe the snout length was just a difference in like regional subspecies or something like that. But I was thinking about, in general, like if you're seeing more urban raccoons with shorter snouts, I do wonder if it has something to do with the fact that the shorter snouts might be making them cuter.
Huh.
And like, I think there's validity to the idea that like cuter animals are more likely to survive around humans.
Yeah.
That like, if you're really, really cute, humans might be more likely to feed you.
Yeah.
Treat you kindly, like not chase you away, not like shoot you on sight. Like, I wonder if there's something to the idea that like a shorter snout might make you more endearing to people.
I think on my end, I might be more inclined to think that there's some sort of feeding pressure or foraging pressure toward a pointy snout in environments where there's not a lot of soft food to eat. Like maybe there's, if they're in the wild and they're spending a lot of time cracking open crayfish and pine cones and, maybe eating carrion or berries or something, there might be a selective pressure for that pointed shape that maybe is less selected for in an environment where you're eating a lot of French fries and cheeseburgers and stuff like that. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But that I think would be the more, the quicker pressure, the force that would change that in a shorter time.
I wonder if that overlaps at all with the idea that I've seen, and I haven't read up on this too much. This is just something I've seen floating around. But the idea that like human jaws have gotten smaller over time, over the last like, thousands. I'm talking like many thousands of years. But like as our diets have gotten more reliant on like, as we've been cooking food and, like processing our like grains into flour and stuff like that, like we've been making our food softer. So like our jaws are getting smaller.
And they can't fit wisdom teeth, which is like famously humans now. So many of us have wisdom teeth that we need to get removed. Obviously, back in the day, there was a selection for if you had wisdom teeth, you would die. Do you know what I mean? They would get infected. You would be dead. So no one really had wisdom teeth. And then that started developing later, coinciding with our smaller jaw size. But there's also this really interesting book called Domesticated, which I don't know if I've brought up to you before. Maybe I have. It's called Domesticated. I can't remember the author. It's very good.
The book referenced here is Domesticated: Evolution in a Man-Made World by Richard C. Francis.
And he describes domestication as a series of basically symptoms, right? Like domestication is a condition and it has symptoms. And he kind of argues, but really just describes the case that humans themselves, we might be domesticating ourselves, right? It's our smaller jaw size, our larger brain capacity. It's all these different traits that might have even been more associated with young humans in the archaic Homo sapiens, like our lack of a brow ridge and everything. In the same way that dogs, a lot of their skeletal traits resemble younger wolves. So it's kind of mirroring some of those conditions in us, which is really interesting to think about. And in a way, we can't exist outside of our own care. Like as a species, we wouldn't do very well. So are we self-domesticated, which is a really fun thing to think about.
It is. As someone who just a few weeks ago got my wisdom teeth taken out, I think I would have rather just taken my chances in the wild. I think maybe we could run the clock back on that one. It was not worth it.
Yeah. But it makes me wonder, like, what's happening to raccoons? Maybe we're going to see, like, a huge die-off of the short snout raccoons because all their teeth can't fit in their mouth. There's, like, who knows what the consequences of this are.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right, girl. Right. Riddle me that, sister.
I was also, because I know that a few years ago, back in 2020, there was a similar study on foxes showing the same thing, that like foxes were starting, like urban foxes were starting to get
was it really?
shorter.
I know.
Not the Russian fox experiment. This was a 2020 thing on urban foxes, their snouts being like a little bit shorter than rural foxes in the UK, where like urban foxes are much more of a thing than they are here in the United States. So I think kind of like what you were saying, like if we're seeing it in both raccoons and foxes that aren't necessarily closely related to each other, you know, it could be a feeding pressure.
It's just so interesting to me because usually a short snout is associated with animals who grab and hold, like predators who have to grab on and hold on to things. But because raccoons are omnivorous, maybe we need to think about it outside of like the idea of a carnivore developing a short snout, right? Because there are a lot of herbivores with short snouts because the short snouts are better suited to like crushing up tough food and digesting food that's a little harder to eat. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's a more herbivorous diet.
I wish I could look like 100,000 years into the future and see what raccoons look like in 100,000 years.
I know. I think about this all the time.
Imagine them running around with little floppy ears. Or maybe they fully come inside. Maybe they fully embrace the soft life.
I think it would be a dangerous game. As I posited in my Smarty Pants presentation, I do think raccoons are highly suitable to domestication. And I think eventually, if it's humans or another species that domesticates them, they're going to become very intelligent. I think it's just like a matter of time.
They're waiting.
I think they're so smart and so good at it.
They're next in line. Maybe, oh, you know what? They're giving evil advisor a little bit. Maybe they're the evil advisor, like over the human's shoulders. Like,
yeah,
my liege, you shouldn't trust them. They speak lies, my liege.
It's Rasputin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whispering into the ear of the Tsar. Love it.
Hey y'all, we're going to take a quick break to hear from some of our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we are going to get to Vinny's top 2 urban wild animals, so stay with us.
Hello, I'm Sierra Cotto, host of TV Chef Fantasy League, and I'm here with Max Fun Member of the Month, Dan Kotnick, who has been a Maximum Fun member since 2023.
Thank you very much.
As the Max Fun Member of the Month, Dan, you'll be getting a $25 gift card to the Maximum Fun store.
Cool.
And you get a special Member of the Month bumper sticker.
Yeah.
This is a huge one. You get a parking spot at Max Fun headquarters, HQ, in Los Angeles, California.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else you'd like to add as Member of the Month?
This is my opportunity to say thank you to everyone that is a part of Maximum Fun, because you guys have just created a media environment that clearly resonates with a lot of people. Being able to do that organically is really impressive, and I think that's the root of why I've been such a big supporter. And so I want to just thank you guys for committing to that goal.
It's for members like you, Dan, and you specifically are Member of the Month for a reason.
Thanks. Bye.
Become a Max Fun member now at MaximumFun.org/join.
You know, we've been doing My Brother, Me for 15 years. And maybe you stopped listening for a while, maybe you never listened. And you're probably assuming 3 white guys talking for 15 years. I know where this has ended up. But no!
No, you would be wrong. We're as shocked as you are that we have not fallen into some sort of horrific scandal or just turned into a big crypto thing.
Yeah, we don't even really know how crypto works.
The only NFTs I'm into are naughty, funny things, which is what we talk about on My Brother, and Me.
We serve it up every Monday for you if you're listening, and if not, we just leave it out back until it goes rotten.
So check it out on Maximum Fun or wherever you get your podcasts.
No, Vinny, what's your number 2 urban wildlife?
Oh, thank you for asking. My number 2 is something that is maybe a little less familiar and something that maybe people don't associate as being a kind of urban wildlife, but I would definitely say it is, which is the turkey. The North American turkey.
They're ready to go at all times. They're ready to throw down no matter what.
Here's the thing. I would see a few wild turkeys every now and then in Colorado. They weren't as common until I started spending more time in Northern California, and then you see them constantly.
Oh, you know what? I remember being in Northern California and seeing a ton of wild turkeys like in people's front yards.
Yeah.
And I didn't really I just thought, oh, look, there's some turkeys right there. I didn't really think of that as being like different, but yeah.
I guess I would describe them more as suburban than urban, but I guess that counts, right? They're a suburban species that seems to do really well around human settlements. I think I love a big bird. I'm always surprised by a big bird. I'm always like glad to see a big bird.
Love it when birds are big.
Love it when birds are big. And I love it when they... There are some animals that you can make a sound and you know they're going to make a sound back and it'll kind of immediately impress the people you're with.
The best.
And truly, if you go past a group of turkeys and they're calm enough and you go, they will do it right back, like all together.
Can I give you my DIY turkey call that my grandfather from Mississippi taught me? It is an actual like physical device you can use using what you have on hand. You take a straw, literally just a plastic straw from a restaurant, and you just like kind of like, oh, you know what? I have one right here. You kind of like kiss the tip of it. Like that, they will gobble back at you.
That is so cool. Yeah. See, I truly, I think that's so impressive. And so like people will be like, Dr. Doolittle, that's crazy. Like, how are you talking?
Now, have you come across many urban turkeys where you live?
Not where I live. There aren't really a lot of turkeys in Los Angeles. I think maybe there are in the more like forested parts, but I don't think there are many in the valley. They're really well suited to like forests and meadows. And so you'll see them more in, I don't know, there are probably a lot in Portland and Seattle, I bet.
I have not seen any. I have not seen a single turkey in the Pacific Northwest. But we stay kind of close to Western Washington, so I bet if we went past the Cascades, it's like 2 separate states, basically. Like past the Cascades, you get a lot of desert and plains and stuff. So I bet if I pass the mountains, there probably are a lot of turkeys out there. But I have not seen any in Western Washington.
You know what I do see in LA, which are similar to turkeys, obviously, because they're both galliforms and they both have fans, are peacocks.
That's probably from people...
That's probably from people.
Because I lived in Florida and we had very many people who got peacocks who shouldn't have had any sort of exotic wildlife in their homes. And they would just kind of like, they didn't really have a strong containment system for the peacocks. So the peacocks would just, there was this one turn. I lived in very rural northern Florida. And there was this one turn that I had been on so much that I knew to like crawl through this turn, because on the other side of the turn, there was a guy who had peacocks who did not secure them properly. So like there was like an 80% chance when you came around this turn, there was going to be a peacock standing in the middle of the road.
You know why I think there are so many loose now? I think because America was kind of built on like Western culture, and there was a big philosophy in ancient Rome and Greece of just if you were wealthy, and this is true of most, like it wasn't just Rome and Greece, it was like Mesopotamia, everywhere. Wealthy people had peacocks just kind of wandering around their grounds. And I think a lot of people did that back in the day, especially rich people in the Gilded Age. They would just buy peacocks and put them on their land. And now we have a sizable population of peacocks just all over the place. And then additionally, people are just buying peacocks today, which is always crazy to see. I think LA is a very specific environment because there are like peacocks and parrots, but they don't really have any notable impact on the environment itself. They're just kind of around. Turkeys are from here. Those are our brothers and sisters. We love turkeys.
Do you think the turkeys see like the influx of peacocks and they're like, was I not good enough for you? Like,
absolutely. That's what they think. Yeah.
Was I not enough? Sorry, I don't have an insane train of feathers behind me. Like, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not dragging a wagon behind me. Sorry, I'm not dragging my big dumper across the street. Oh, this isn't good
sorry,
enough.
I'm not caked up. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not caked up like those blue guys. That's nuts. I think turkeys are great. I think they're great, and I would qualify them as urban wildlife because I see them in places that surprise me. I think ultimately an urban wildlife is an animal that pops up in a place that surprises you.
Where you're like, I don't think you go here.
You shouldn't be here.
I know for a fact that they are quite urban because years ago when we were prepping for a turkey episode, I came across something that just delighted me to no end, which was advice from the Massachusetts government on what to do when you have like problem turkeys. Because they get to a point, like you mentioned, that's a big bird. And they know that they're big. And they kind of, I think, know that you're not going to do that much to them. Like, I think they kind of, like, feel like they could take you. So they will square up. And apparently this is a particularly problem in the Northeast. The Massachusetts government offered advice like using air horns, spraying them with a hose. And one of the things they mentioned was actually that you should cover up, like, your car or any, like, shiny metallic surface because they will fight their reflection because they're mean and dumb. They're a tragic combination of being really mean and really stupid.
I think birds, as a rule, are some of the dumbest smart animals in the world. Like, turkeys have a really extensive vocabulary. A lot of people don't know this, but turkeys, like, they have a lot of different sounds that mean very specific things that they're all aware of. But any bird, you know, is still going to be enamored by its own reflection, no matter how smart it is. And turkeys, especially all the galliforms, they're so fighty. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to latch onto it and start to try to, like, mollywop it with their little fists. Which in a way is charming. And all the videos of people running to go hide in their cars when a turkey comes up is also very fun to look at. I think it's worth it.
Because I'm like, no, that's where they're going. No, they want to fight that. Like,
no, you're doing exactly what it wants. You're playing right into its claws.
Well, I've seen a lot of videos. So I've seen turkeys doing this, but in Florida, we would have sandhill cranes that were particularly mean. And the thing about that is that they have a giant dagger on their face.
Absolutely.
So they would like regularly like damage people's cars and garage doors because they would just like jam into it. And there were a lot of videos of people inside their cars filming through their window at this crane shaking. Just like going.
Like camera shaking.
It's like found footage. You can see the water droplets in the cup.
If it was up to me, I wanted to scare them away. I wouldn't use an air horn. I wouldn't cover up my car. I would just get a bigger bird.
Oh.
No one is talking about this. Just get an ostrich.
There you go.
And hopefully the ostrich doesn't cause problems, but you won't have to worry about the turkey again. Let's say that.
You keep one in your trunk so that if a crane looks at you wrong.
Right next to my spare tire.
You pop the trunk open and the long neck just like slowly rises out of the trunk.
Yeah. Oh my God, wait, can we talk about the structures on male turkeys' faces real quick? Because they are crazy, right? Like there's the snood, which I obviously I know about.
I love whoever was like, we need a word for every part of this. I love whoever was like, we need a distinct vocabulary for every part of this situation.
And the word, by the way, is perfect. I look at that, I'm like, yeah, that's a snood.
100%, they nailed it.
I can't remember the name of the one that comes up from the forehead because there's one that sticks up.
Is that a comb?
No, the comb is usually, it's like on the top of a head. And I don't know if turkeys... Okay. Maybe it is a kind of comb. I don't know. I just saw a video of it. And look, I thought I knew everything about turkeys. I'm arrogant, right? I thought I knew everything. I saw a video of one kind of on command, expanding and shrinking this thing. Like, and I've seen it happen with the snood. I had never seen it happen with the structure on the top of the head. And I don't know if they inflate it or pump it full of blood or what happens, but it was like perverse. Like I was watching it.
Put that away.
Instinctively, Ellen, I'm not joking. I was covering my phone as I was like, I don't think I should, like, this is not right.
This isn't my business. This seems private.
This seems private. This doesn't seem like, it feels naked. The organ itself feels naked. I don't know what it is, but anything expanding and contracting like that, I'm like, that's religious, and you shouldn't. That's for your wife, sir. I shouldn't be looking at that at all. That's
between you and God. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
You and God and your wife, your one wife.
You are lawfully wedded. Wife, your turkey wife.
Your turkey wife.
What I was surprised to learn about was that like the domestication of the turkey goes back in like Mesoamerica like thousands and thousands of years. Like they had turkeys prehistorically that were living with them. Because I remember one of the things that was interesting to me was that like they found in archaeological sites, they found like turkeys where the bones hadn't been cut, like turkeys that had been buried like intentionally, so they weren't just like wild dead turkeys. They were buried with the people. And usually when you see an animal that's like bred for meat, then when part of the butchering process, the knife is going to cut against the bones and leave some cuts and scrapes and stuff in the bones, but the turkey's bones were clean, like they were not cut. So the suggestion was that like they would have probably been raised for their feathers instead of for their meat.
Isn't that wild? I think the contribution of indigenous people to food culture, like specifically in America around the world, is crazy to think about, right? Like you got corn, potatoes, tomatoes, and turkey, which there weren't a lot of animals domesticated in the Americas, but turkey was one of them, and it's a great one, right? Like
it's a banger. I will not
it's
accept
a banger.
turkey slander when people are like, it's too dry. I'm like, skill issue. I'm sorry. You
I
were not
just
cooking it
tweeted
right.
that.
Like,
I just tweeted that.
you did.
I tweeted that a turkey's dryness is actually a defense mechanism.
It appears to have worked because they were like raised for their feathers before for their meat. Because part of me was like, well, that seems weird. Why raise a perfectly good fowl if you're not gonna like eat the perfectly good meat that's on it? But then it's like, oh, maybe they didn't like it.
I have another fun fact. It's kind of a tangent, but not that much of a tangent, which is that I don't know if you knew about this, but they have found macaw feathers and macaw skeletons in like the southwestern United States, in where the ancestral Pueblo people lived, in those big dwellings, kind of like Mesa Verde. Those people, they had such connected trading routes with Mesoamerica that they were bringing up live macaws.
Wow!
So literally thousands of years ago, they had macaws, which is
that was the original peacock.
The original peacock.
They were like, we got to flex.
And turkeys are like, I cannot believe this, again and again and again.
The turkey's like, I'm never enough. When am I going to be enough? Why can't you just appreciate me?
I was curious about different domesticated turkey breeds before we got on this pod, because I only knew about, I think, the slate and the bourbon red.
Now, are they as ridiculous as some of the chicken breeds? Because some of the chicken breeds are frankly silly.
And I guess that's one of the beef I have with domesticated turkeys, is that we don't seem to have taken it far, right? Like we're not doing enough. The color and the size a little bit. I want to see a silky turkey. Where is that?
I want to see a show turkey.
Yeah.
I want Westminster for turkeys.
Yeah. I want a turkey up on that pole. I want a turkey doing what needs to be done, making that money. I want a show turkey.
The life of a show turkey. I do think we could be doing more with turkeys. We've seen we've seen it done with chickens. We've seen it done with pigeons. I think we could be doing more with turkeys aesthetically.
Let's have that conversation. Absolutely.
I don't think they're ready for it.
They're not.
Vinny, what's your number one urban wildlife?
My number one urban wildlife is one that I have never seen in the wild, but that is very common in cities. And when I say cities, I mean cities. We're talking Bangkok, Thailand. We're talking Jakarta, Indonesia. We're talking the Asian water monitor.
A stellar pick. Because it would not... Much. I don't live in the places where these live, so it wouldn't have occurred to me. But every single time I've seen a photo or something of Asian water monitors, they're doing something insane. They're always doing something that you're like, what? You're like a 6-foot-long lizard. Yeah. What are you doing?
I think, first of all, I think the second longest lizard in the world after the Komodo dragon. Asian water monitors are huge. They're massive. And they're very muscular. And let's face it, they're carnivorous lizards. So they're scary. But they have managed to thrive in, like, polluted urban rivers. They're snatching fish out of people's hands. They're biting each other. You'll see so many scenes of the males wrestling. And when they wrestle, they do the same thing Komodo dragons do, which they like rear up on their hind legs and they like smack each other and bite each other. And there are people nearby just having a picnic, just like enjoying their lunch while these kaijus are like battling it out for supremacy.
It's fully Godzilla happening just off screen.
And I think reptiles are often left out of the thought process when we think about urban wildlife, but there are a lot of reptiles that specifically seem to thrive in urban settings. And I think another good example is like very tiny example is the Cuban anoles in the southeastern United States, who live specifically in cities, like because the cities are warmer and they seem to be able to grab onto walls a little better. So they live in cities all the time. And another good example is probably the iguana, the green iguana, which is all over the place in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of Florida, the Asian water monitor also popping up in Florida every now and then.
Usually if there's something, it probably has a feral, like, invasive population in Florida. If it is native to, like, this sort of, like, equatorial region, there's probably an invasive population in Florida. Because Florida's like, bring them all in. Just real melting pot down there in Florida.
I think because reptiles and the way they think and the way they make decisions is a little alien to us sometimes, right? They're not like rats. They're not like birds. They're not necessarily easy to spook all the time, because if you smell like food, it's going to keep following you around. I think there's something about that that's a little more intimidating, but it's also kind of beautiful and impressive that such a big animal, specifically such a big carnivore, can live in such huge numbers around a ton of people. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I do feel like the behavior, because I have seen a lot of videos of them being surprisingly comfortable with just walking right up to somebody and like taking food out of their hand.
Yeah.
And I think maybe like because they're so big, they're like, you seem about my size, you know? They're like, I could probably take you. Like it to me, it's seagull software on like alligator hardware. Like they have such like seagull behavior, but like if a seagull was like an armored tank.
Yeah. I think if alligators were as active as Asian water monitors are, they would have gone extinct. We would have killed them all almost immediately. Like they're
alligators on stimulants.
Let me tell you about monitor lizards in general. They are skitterers. Those animals skedaddle.
They love to skitter.
They love to skitter. And look, some of them are very confident, particularly the big ones, but smaller Asian water monitors, because they are predated on by their own people,
no loyalty,
are prone to running away. So if you approach them, they will like, do the Looney Tunes, like their little legs are running around and they'll just bolt off.
Oh, it's so funny when they can't get traction.
Yes, they skedaddle. They like try to grab what they can.
Have you seen this has happened more than once. Have you seen the Asian water monitors that keep getting on the F1 racetracks?
Yes.
It keeps happening. They're like, we cannot keep these giant lizards off of the racetrack. Like, I feel like it's happened so much. I think they started like having little like graphics where like when a water monitor would be like on the racetrack, the camera would pan to it and a little graphic at the bottom would say like Asian water monitor. Would have like little fun facts about them.
I think it's also so funny to me because like these are not social animals, right? Like they don't, in what we would qualify as like the wild, like to be around each other, but they're in. Yeah. They're running on the racetracks in like Singapore and wherever else, which is bananas, man. Tilapia snatchers.
Yeah, they do have a very dinosaur sort of like appearance to them. Although I feel like I grew up enough around alligators that maybe the large reptile analog for me is like, I'm like, yeah. Because I feel like for me, the larger the reptile, the more chill I feel around it. Because I'm like, you're probably not going to be running around a whole lot.
Until they skedaddle.
Alligators, not skedaddlers at all. They will not. As if they start going and they can't get traction, they're like, I guess I live here.
I just read this National Geographic magazine, and the issue was predators. It was all about predatory animals. And they had this whole section about what to do when you're confronted with different type of predators. And one of them was alligators. And it said, run as fast as possible in a straight line. Alligators can run up to 35 miles an hour for short distances. Yeah.
Not the alligators I've seen.
I was like, 35, that's horse speeds. And when you say short distance, you mean probably like it lunges forward once, right?
Yeah, like it jumps. It'll get one good jump in, and then they're usually like, that's all I got.
And when you say short distances, you really mean like 5 feet, right? That's crazy.
Well, they tell kids they had to specify in a straight line because in Florida, they tell kids if you're ever being chased by an alligator, run in a zigzag.
Crazy.
That's like something you hear growing up. You run in a zigzag. But that's the thing is like you do not have to be doing all that. Like you could probably just, if you run in a straight line for like 30 feet, then they're going to like probably lunge at you and they'll be like, yeah, we're good.
You can stop, turn around, take a picture. Everything's going to be totally fine. Like, you'll be good.
Or if there's like an old man in slides somewhere nearby, he's probably already sitting on its face. Like, he's probably already, someone nearby has probably already wrangled it and is throwing it in the back of their pickup truck as we speak with its mouth wrapped in duct tape. Like, someone is probably on it.
Sorry, just to pivot back to water monitors, because we have to.
Yes.
I just learned about there's like different localities that have really different color morphs than like the typical Asian water monitor. And I can't remember where this one is from, but there's a smaller variety that is really bright yellow, like kind of bright yellow stripe down its entire body. And it's one of the prettiest lizards.
Oh, that's
Isn't it gorgeous?
Pretty.
Yeah.
I do like that they also have like regional fashion. Like they also have trends.
Yeah. And I always wonder why that is. It's so weird to me because, God, they must have been separated for a long time. And there must have been a lot of pressure for like the Gila monster yellow stripe pattern, right, to emerge. Like what caused it?
Yeah, like what could that possibly be benefiting them? I don't know. Maybe there's like more vegetation where they live, and maybe like the more higher contrast is like better for them than like the solid dark look. I don't know.
Sadly, we'll never know, Diva.
I did also see, because I remember years ago, I was talking to a friend, Ivan Kwan, who is a naturalist in Singapore, and he was talking to me about Asian water monitors, and he told me about this thing I'd never heard of before. Basically, Asian water monitors were found in like a shipwreck.
Oh, no way.
Like they were found like hanging out in like an underwater shipwreck, and they would dive down to hunt for fish and stuff like that. And the monitors knew where there were air pockets, like in the shipwreck, and they would come up to get air in the air pockets and then dive back down.
Oh my word.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild, but it's also interesting because there's a sea snake. I don't know which one it is. Don't ask me. It's either, I think it's maybe the crate, the sea crate, that specifically goes and gives birth in those. It goes to underwater marine caves and pops out into these, where there's air pockets in these caves, and that's where it has its young. Which is always like fascinated me. It's like they must have been giving birth in that cave for hundreds of thousands of years to the point that it's become crucial to their species, those specific caves, which is nuts.
Wild.
And the Asian water monitor is clearly smart enough to figure it out like in a generation.
I was about to say, like, it kind of makes sense that if they've already, because a lot of times when I'm talking about animals with really, really interesting behaviors or really interesting, like you mentioned about like birds being like the dumbest smart animals, like them having like extremely, like, it almost seems like specialized intelligence. They'll be like really, really, really smart at one thing and then not that smart in another way. Where like cleaner wrasses, for example, right? Like they could recognize themselves in a mirror. And that made a lot of sense because they rely heavily on visual cues, social understanding, and like memory. So like those are all the skills you need to basically like pass the mirror test. So I'm wondering like if the Asian water monitors are so good at like navigating dark environments, maybe environments with a lot of like nooks and crannies, finding little air pockets and stuff like that. I wonder if that like makes them better at like living in our cities because they're used to like having to explore and find places.
Here's what I think, and it's something I often forget, which is that reptiles like varanids, like water monitors, with their forked tongue, they can smell underwater too, right? Like they put the tongue underwater and they're still smelling underwater. So what they might even have found that air pocket just by smelling that air pocket, right? By smelling oxygen under there and then just following that into a gap, right? Which is also pretty wild to think about. And also, I recently learned that about mosasaurs, like because mosasaurs they were big giant lizards that went extinct. They had the same ability where they would literally like stick a tongue out and they would smell underwater, just like monitor lizards do today.
Did you see in Prehistoric Planet the bit with the mosasaur that pulled up to the cleaning station?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It was so good.
And you know who did all the research for that? One second was she invited me to go look around the museum once, the LA History Museum. But Kirsten Formoso, who I think her username is like Foam Morphology on Instagram or something. She was who they reached out to for all the mosasaur background to make sure everything was scientifically accurate, or at least she was one of the people. And so she's in the post-credit scenes. I'm so proud of her. She's awesome. She literally gave me a tour.
That's awesome.
I learned so much about mosasaurs. They had like pharyngeal jaws and all kinds of stuff that I had no idea about until she did it.
Moray eels?
Yeah, like moray eels. And the same thing, like teeth literally in their jaws.
Huh.
Yeah. Isn't that a gag?
That is wild because I've heard of that in other bony fish, but I've never heard of it like outside of fish. I've only ever heard of pharyngeal jaws like in fish. That is wild that they would have also like made the jump to like that they would have also emerged in a reptile.
She showed me the fossils and they are crazy. Like it's very clearly like teeth, a layer of teeth within the teeth. It's nuts.
You know, I was trying to think of like the other silly situations that I've seen Asian water monitors in. And you know where they always end up is in convenience stores. There's like a gazillion pictures of Asian water monitors in convenience stores.
You know where they always end up? Convenience stores. And then, oh my God, yeah, that one video went viral of that giant one.
Yeah, that thing was huge. Because and I mean, these things, this thing is like 6 feet tall, right? And they're good climbers, so they're climbing up the displays, knocking all the like ramen noodles and potato chips to the ground because they're lizards. They're not going to respect like the rules of the store. They don't have social conventions. They don't care.
Let me tell you something. Everybody needs a hot dog sometimes.
They're going for those roller dogs.
Everyone needs a holy roller every now and then.
Yeah, I also wonder, because I don't know really what the sort of attitudes of people that live where Asian water monitors live, though. Like, I don't know if they have the same attitudes that people here have towards like our urban wildlife. Like, there can be some like animosity and some frustration, but there's also like a sort of endearing, like, oh, like I wonder what the perceptions are and attitudes are towards the giant 6-foot lizards walking down the streets.
Yeah. I wonder if they're desensitized to it, like you mentioned before. To me, it's such an interesting animal. I would be like shocked and enamored by seeing those every day. Just like I'd be shocked and enamored by seeing the ibises every day that Australian people see sorting through their trash. Like, love those guys, but I'm sure it's the same thing.
Now that I live in a place without large reptiles around, or without very many reptiles at all, we have garter snakes, and that's kind of it, and like turtles and stuff.
Buddy, you are in the like newt salamander place.
I've only seen one. I've only seen one newt the whole time we've lived here, and it was in a pool. It was in someone's pool.
Dead. It had a gun in its hand.
And it's not for lack of trying. I flip logs and rocks everywhere I go, and I have not seen these things.
Dang. Well, I guess technically Appalachia is like the place for like the grand newt salamander diversity. But in NorCal, at least, you'll see the cute little California newts all the time when you flip a log. And they're adorable. They're like bright orange, and their little hands have like, they're so cute.
Oh, what we do have up here in spades, though, is bald eagles.
Yeah.
The bald eagles are not playing here. Like, I was telling Christian the other day, like, he told me that he feels like we have seen more bald eagles here than we have seen turkey vultures.
Because they're probably filling the niche, right?
Yeah, they're like, I'll take everything. It's fine. Vinny, before we wrap up for today, could you let people know where they can go to see more of your work and hear more from you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Threads and TikTok at VINN_AYY. That's at VINN_AYY.
How do you pronounce that? Because in my head, I pronounce it like Vinny with a little trail
Yeah,
off.
that's how I made it when I was so young, and now it's too late to change it. I made it when I was like obviously 12, and I was like, Vinny. Like, that's so cute. But now what I'm dealing with is because a lot of people think I'm Indian already, they think my name is Vinay, Vinay.
Oh.
Which totally understandable.
I could see it.
You see it.
Yeah. I was thinking it the way you intended it at first.
Well, because we're like-minded, Ellen.
Yeah, same brain. I same-brained.
Yeah. We're sisters with the same brain. Vinay. Like, it's done.
Well, Vinny, thank you so much for talking about urban wildlife with me. I have learned some really surprising new things from you. I appreciate it. And thank you for your time and your humor and your love of nature. Vinny, thank you so much. It was awesome to talk to you again.
Thank you for having me. I've had so much fun.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you made yourself at home right alongside these wild animals. If you liked what you heard, I would love it if you left behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you want to come hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and Blue Sky. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We'd like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other wonderful shows like the ones you heard promos for here today. You can go check those out and learn more about the network and how you can be a part of supporting our show over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network.
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
Directly
by you.